Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are Propelled by Plants.
Today we bring to you episode 405, Plant-Based Hollywood with General Hospital's Réal Andrews.
In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we talk with General Hospital's Réal Andrews about plant-based Hollywood. He shares stories of how his father extended his life by 15 years after becoming plant-based and how his family's adopting a plant-based diet now with his son's newfound passion for the vegan lifestyle. He lets us in on how actors are being fed and how popular plant-based really is out in Hollywood. We cover so much more from mindset, addiction, and social circles. Please share this out. It can really relate with anybody.
Réal Andrews is an Emmy Award Actor from ABC's General Hospital. He's a producer, podcast host of Getting Real with Réal, a humanitarian entrepreneur, and has spent 42 years as a fitness expert. He's an action coach, mental wellness advocate, and network marketer. Réal is a cancer survivor, has been sober for 2 years, and is a loving husband, father of 3. You're going to love this episode. It's a great interview. We had so much fun with him, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Great news, everybody. I Am a Peaceful Goldfish. My picture book is available everywhere books are sold, in stores and online. It's perfect for any children ages 0 to 7, so stock up on your birthday presents and baby shower gifts today. We do have a limited amount of signed copies. If you would like one, please email us at info@planttrainers.com.
And now for a moment of gratitude.
I'm grateful for the ability to let go. I had some goals that I was looking to achieve in the near future, and I didn't let go of the goal, but I let go of the emotion and the stress that I was putting on that goal. And I thought that it was something that I would hit next month, and I actually hit it a few weeks ago. So sometimes letting go and stepping back can really help you move forward.
I'm grateful for the change in weather. I've been running for months in the freezing cold, and it's finally warming up, and I'm building up great sweats as I run in the heat. Such a difference. Got to adapt again, but I'm grateful for that weather.
Réal Andrews, thank you so much for joining us on the Plant Trainers Podcast today.
I'm grateful to be here. Thanks for having me.
We'll talk about gratitude. We'd love to know what you're grateful today in this moment.
What I'm grateful for today, you know what? Because I just saw her. I'm grateful for my wife right now in this moment.
Yeah. And
good. We're lucky guys. We're lucky guys to have great wives.
Amen. Hashtag truth bomb on that for sure.
Yeah. And you have 3 beautiful children as well.
I do. I have 3 children, Marcus, Nathan, and Danica. Danica, obviously my daughter. Marcus is 19, Nathan is 17, and Danica is 15.
Wow.
And I got Diamond the dog.
Diamond the dog
is the diva of the family, yes.
Love it. Yeah, it's funny how we end up revolving our family around our pets at some point.
Mm-hmm. Well, Diamond was, she got on the cover of one of the soap magazines, and she basically had her own cover, and ever since that, it's been like, we have to have family meetings, and she talks, she needs food, and it's like she's become a real diva now. So she wants her own Instagram channel, her own TikTok show. She's out of control, basically.
And what kind of water does she drink?
Well, she certainly doesn't drink water from the tap. We have to go get the special water. Yeah, it's which one is that? What's the?
It's a fancy one.
It's the fancy one where you go to the machine and it gives you probably the same water that you guys are drinking.
Got it. Perfect.
But you know what's funny? I'll tell you real quick. So when we switched the water, and that came from my middle son, Nathan. Nathan's very educated on this whole plant-based thing. So he's a 5.0 kid, and he knows everything. And so he started talking about how we needed to get this different water. I can't believe it, but we'll tell you this, for whatever it's worth. So when we switched Diamond, because I'm like, well, if we're going to drink that water, then Diamond's going to drink the same water. If this tap water is not good enough for us, then it's not good enough for her either. And then one day, I'll never forget, I actually went and filled up her thing with water from the tap, and she went over and she wouldn't drink it.
She snubbed it.
Yeah, that makes sense. They know. They know when they get the good stuff and when they don't.
We used to put 2 different waters on the floor for our cat, and it went for the cleaner water. So you're talking about Nathan and knowing a lot about plant-based. Is he the first introduction of plant-based in your family? Or I think you said your dad was plant-based too. Was your dad plant-based before that?
Yeah, no, my dad. My dad was, I'm 58, so, my dad, I remember we grew up in the times when carrot juice became a big thing and everybody was drinking so much carrot juice, they were orange, So my dad he never ever ate meat. I mean, my dad was a guy that, he wouldn't even use a microwave. And so he was that for years. And I don't know that, Nathan was young when he ever met Dad, because unfortunately Dad passed away in his young years, but maybe there were seeds planted or not. I don't know. But, Nathan all of a sudden just came home one day and he was just on this total plant-based kick, and he'd come home and was educated about all these things and, how bad it was eating meat and all of that. And he just like literally did a 360-degree turn like overnight. And at first it was as it always is when we get excited about something, it was like the Bible thumper of plant-based foods, we're all going to die and all that. But then, he respects us every now and then. He has some things to say because he cares about us. And I honestly, to be real with you, because I saw what it did for my dad, and, I've been a fitness expert for 42 years now. I get it, and I'm totally see it. I've seen so many amazing results from people that make the switch. And I'm actually part of a company. Our holistic solutions are plant-based. And so we have something called a reboot. It's a 3-day reboot. And basically for those 3 days, the quick and short of it is you're vegan for 3 days. You don't eat no dairy, no meat, no sugar, no refined stuff, no caffeine, no alcohol, none of that. And every time I do that 3-day reboot, I mean, I immediately can see the difference, like for sure. And then when I go back to meat, I definitely feel, so I think it's just a matter of time before I make that 100% switch myself, to be honest with you. But, it's kind of, I'm 58, I've been eating meat my whole life, and kind of like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of the history of the family over here.
So normally our guests on the show are completely vegan or plant-based, and I thought this was a very interesting opportunity to get a different perspective because your son Nathan is plant-based, and that impacts the family dynamics. And full transparency, you've already mentioned you're not 100% plant-based, which is totally cool. You'll get there one day if you choose to. I thought for our audience, it would be an interesting conversation to kind of get how the family dynamics are really working in that situation, because we talk to a lot of families. We have a lot of families that are in our audience, and it makes a lot of sense to kind of learn from this. So what is the impact that Nathan is having on your family, and is his way of eating and lifestyle changing the way other people in your family are consuming?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal question. And, yes, it definitely is changing the dynamics more from the top down, from me and my wife. Like my oldest son and my daughter think he's cray-cray, but it was a little tumultuous, or whatever that word is I'm trying to say, for a while there, just keeping it real. But then, I'm also the person who says, hey guys, you need to respect Nathan if this is what he's passionate about, and I've also had those conversations with Nathan and said, listen, I get it that you're really passionate about this, but, and I respect that. But it's also not a place to, put your beliefs completely on the other people in the family. They all have to find their own journey. But me as a fitness expert and somebody who's committed to helping people to be the best version of themselves, like I said, man, I'll be honest with you, I completely see the power of being plant-based. I mean, it basically bought my dad 20 years of life. He got Parkinson's at 62. and he went home to be with the Lord at 87. And no doubt at all that his eating habits and his style of life were a huge contributor to that. You can see in my own family dynamics with my mom and my dad. Okay, there's another perfect example, right? My dad is total vegan, total health conscious, working out every day. When my aunt got MS, he would just walk with her every day, and just that mindset. Whereas my mom, cigarettes, Diet Coke, you know what I mean? And when my mom got sick, she went fast, like real fast. And it wasn't pretty, and it was real ugly, And so I see the big difference in that. I also see the mindset difference. I mean, literally, my dad and one of his best friends, within weeks of each other, found out that they have Parkinson's, okay? And my dad, because of his eating habits, because of his physical choices, because of his mindset, the doctors basically said to both of them, hey, you've had a great life. It's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do to fix it. So just make the best of it. And my dad's like, no, I'm not accepting that. And he knows that he's fueling himself with the best plant-based stuff, where his friend was like, okay, basically threw in the white towel, had terrible eating habits. He, like I said, my dad, literally, dude, for 20 years and still being a champion until that final maybe year or so. His friend was in a wheelchair within 6 months and died in just over a year.
Yeah. And, there are probably other factors that play into it for sure. But the fact that he was able to extend his life by an extra 15 years, have that with his family, accomplish more in his life, show up with a good mindset, and clearly passing that mindset on to you, someone who's running a business, a fitness expert, Emmy Awards, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much that you do in your life that you're able to do with this positive mindset, and clearly seeing how it worked for your father compared to how it worked for other people around him is huge. And I did want to say sorry for your loss, your mom and your dad. And it is an important lesson that it has left you and your children, that when you put in the effort in your own body, even if things might not be perfect, things can still be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, as you just said it, another example, and it's all a process, right? Things happen for a reason. It might be that the reason we're doing a podcast might be the final step for me to say, who knows what that thing is, but I will I just had a thought when you mentioned the Emmy Award, my acting side of it. When I'm working, when I go to the set to work, my DMO, if you will, is I get up, I do my workout and all that stuff. I have one scoop of my plant-based protein. I have my plant-based, what do we call it, superfood, which is and a GBX super seed, and it's all plant-based. And that's all I eat, okay? Because I feel hungry, I feel focused, I feel alert, I feel on my game. But I can tell you this, like in an instant. So I always start my way like that. And then at about I think we break for lunch at about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And they bring out the lunch because we're in COVID right now. So they supply lunch on the set. And they usually bring about 3 or 4 choices. And I'm telling you, if I make a choice and eat one of those meat choices, they usually give us a plant-based and 2 meat choices. If I eat that meat choice, immediately I'm like, dude, I am so out of my game. I'm sluggish. I feel it like immediately. It's crazy, the difference.
And that's so interesting how the body reacts. And that was also going to be one of my questions too. When they do feed you on the set, do they provide a plant-based option, and do they provide a vegan option? And is it a healthy option, or is it like the A&W plant-based burger?
Oh, no. It's very healthy. Yeah, no, they actually take really, really good care of us. And you know what? It's a great question. I never thought of it. But there's actually a lot of vegans on the set, because there's a big bunch of vegan meals that they bring out, and they're all gone. And as a matter of fact, they go before the other ones go. Interesting. I never thought of that till you put that out.
That's cool. That's interesting. So it's the impact of food is huge on our body, on our mind, and you're a mindset guy. And so I got to ask you this question. You see the impact that the food that you consume had on your dad. you see the education that Nathan has and how he's impacting and living right now. You know, as a fitness trainer, that there are so many benefits to a plant-based lifestyle, and you're not there yet. So I want to understand, and it's cool that you're not there yet, but I want to understand the thought process and what's holding you back from actually going fully into that direction, so that there might be people listening that might be in a similar situation and have someone around them that has had huge impact, but something's holding them back. So I want to know what it is for you.
That's a phenomenal question. And I never really thought about it till you just poised it to me, or positioned it to me right there. And I'll just share with you what, like, immediately a couple thoughts came off my head. Number one, there's the old adage, whether it's true or not. It's like, as a kid, when your parents are telling you what to do, you kind of don't do it. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, so there might be some of that. But honestly, to be honest with you, I think for me personally, and I think this could be for everybody on different levels, I'm 2 years sober this past Christmas, okay? I'm an addict, alcoholic, and I'm sober. So there's that, you know, and I was just talking about this last night with somebody, one of my mentors that coaches me. It's like the day that I walked into AA, my mind was made up and I never looked back. Because it's always about timing, right? I mean, why didn't that happen like the day before or 20 years earlier or whatever? Because I certainly knew my real dad died from alcohol poisoning. So I certainly knew when I was drinking a bottle of vodka every day that was not a good choice, especially as a fitness expert. So why did I keep doing it? Like, because now that I'm here, to me, that's the most, excuse the expression, asinine thing ever that I did. I mean, why would I do that to my body? You know, and it's the same thing. And I know what you're saying, because it honestly doesn't make sense to me, really. I'm just being real. That's what I do, because I see the benefits when I don't. I know the benefits with my dad, like you said. I see huge changes and benefits in my middle son already, like massive on so many different levels. I mean, literally, he was, whatever you call it, something off the old block. You know, he was going down the same road as me. I'm struggling with bipolar manic too. You know, he was getting on medication. He was starting to self-medicate. He was doing drugs. He was having anger. He was having all those issues. Now he's plant-based. He's not on medication. He's not having anger issues. He's not self-medicating. He's a completely different kid. He's fun to be around. I don't know. You could say it's coincidence. I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? So what's up with Réal? What are you waiting for? I don't know. I really don't know.
So what we see often with people who come to us for the nutrition help is that they're not always ready to jump in right away with 2 feet. Adam went cold tofu overnight. He literally came home and he's like, shush, I'm plant-based. I'm like, what's that? He's like, I'm vegan. I'm like, is that some kind of vegetarian? I didn't even know what he was talking about. You know, we're talking about 10 years ago almost already. So like, I kind of knew what it was, but I didn't even really. So he went like full out. He never touched a piece of animal again. But for me, I needed to take steps. I needed to shed the meat and then shed the poultry and then, you know, shed the fish. So it all was a cycle for me. And some of our clients go full breakfasts plant-based and then add the lunch plant-based and then eventually the dinner's plant-based and then the restaurant's plant-based. People need to take steps. So, you know, having been an addict and needing to get rid of one piece of toxicity from the life, going and doing it all at one time can be extremely difficult. And you've been practicing that and being committed to that for 2 years now. And it's like, okay, maybe we did meet on Clubhouse for a reason kind of thing. And now that you've got that down and under wraps, you know, you can start to work on this journey too. You mentioned that there were some differences with your son. So what I heard you say is that there is mental health has leveled out and improved. His attitude has improved, his mindset has improved, his relationships has improved, and then you don't see him following in your footsteps in some of those less wanted directions, which is good too. Have you seen anything else physically or medically with him as well? Taking a little break to let you know that the best gift you can give your child is the tools that they need to get through stressful situations, especially in the world that we're living in today. Stock up on birthday presents and baby shower gifts by ordering a signed copy or a regular copy of my new book, I Am a Peaceful Goldfish, at planttrainers.com, on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Indigo, or anywhere books are sold in stores and online. It teaches mindfulness and playful breathing techniques for kids and their families to use when they're feeling overwhelmed, using their imagination and inspiration from objects found around the house to help them feel calm and grounded. This book is going to be amazing in your home. And now back to the show.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. You asked that because we were just talking about this yesterday. So he's literally put on, I think I know exactly, so 5 pounds in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I noticed, because initially, as you guys probably know better than me, and that's part of me as a trainer. Where are you going to get all your protein from? How are you going to get the amount of protein that you need? But then Nathan is coming from a whole, I don't need to educate you guys on that, but Nathan's certainly educating us on the truths, and you don't need to eat that much, and this and that. And he, like I said, he's brilliant. So, he'll come, he'll come to my wife and me, and he says, okay, here's what I need, because I need to get this amount of protein and this amount of carbs, and so we need to go to Whole Foods. We need to buy this, and this, and you need to, and he calculates it to a T, like right down to the T, right? But initially he was having trouble getting weight on because he wants to get a little bigger, and then he wanted to be more ripped in the stomach, and he was looking, softer and stuff. But he's fine-tuned it. He's figured it out. He's putting weight on. He's leaning out. His body looks great. His abs are popping out. And, me as a fitness trainer who was old school, who's like, there's no way. I know I've said stuff like, there's no way that you could do a fitness show or a bodylifting show as a vegan. It's impossible, because you're not going to be able to get enough protein and blah, blah, blah. Well, you guys know that's not true. I'm learning it's not true. I'm watching it with him. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it takes a little more work. I think you got to think more, just because we live in a society that it's not vegan accessibility, right? But you know what? The tools are there. And you know what? Hey, all things that are worth anything are worth hard work, right? So we tend to want to take a shortcut. So just because it might mean more work or something, does that mean it's a bad thing? I don't think so.
Definitely don't think so. So are you all living together? I know the older two are older. So you're all living together. Mm-hmm. Would it be easier to just make everything plant-based, or how does mealtime go? Does he make his own food? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've gone yes and no. No, yes, originally. Because, Nathan, like I said, he came home one day and it started with, I'm transgressing, and the world's going to end November 11th, and you guys aren't going with me. And that's where it started. Okay, he went hardcore into the whole thing. And then he became vegan. So initially it was like, we couldn't be in the kitchen when he was cooking because he didn't want our energy in his food. And like my wife was like, my wife's and she wants to cook and so her feelings got hurt a lot. But it's transgressed into that we can still be in the same kitchen at the same time. Obviously, we got to be very respectful that we're not using stuff that would be touching his food or stuff like that could, that kind of stuff. He does let my wife cook stuff for him now, but he's very, very intentional and specific about what he wants and what he likes. And you know what? I actually enjoy it, because isn't it funny that I was just talking about, isn't it funny how our kids start to become us, or even their grandparents that they maybe even didn't know? Because it's kind of being a little bit fun for me, I noticed lately, because he's starting to cook stuff that my dad cooked. And so it's bringing back memories of my, literally same kind of dishes, and it brings back memories for me. And then I say, hey, can I try some? And I'm eating it, and it tastes amazing, but it's kind of bringing full circle that father-son kind of bonding that I had with my dad. It's kind of crazy a little bit.
I think it's pretty cool that you as parents are being so supportive of him, and that's super important in a family dynamic. And I also think that because I work with a lot of teens, I find that that age group is starting to impact their parents in a very different way than our parents did or we did on our parents, because they're learning so much about nutrition that the older generations didn't understand or didn't know or didn't believe. And so it's interesting to watch how the younger generations are now impacting their parents and bringing everyone to potentially a healthier environment, a healthier way of living and lifestyle. It's pretty interesting to me.
And I like what you're saying, and to anybody listening, if I can fast track them, because like I said, that's my name, Réal. I just keep it real. There was the time initially where it was like all of a sudden I come home because, my wife she's the mother, right? So she's always the first. It's her babies. Don't mama bear my kids, right? Dad's over here trying to have an ego. You know what I'm saying? And I come home one day and I can't put stuff on the second shelf in the fridge. I got a whole shelf over here that's Nathan. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second, dude. I pay the bills in this house. Wait, I can put food wherever I want. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So there was that, but now it's like, that's Nathan's shelf. Don't put nothing on there. That's Nathan's shelf in the cupboard. He gets all of that. And I will say what I've seen, what you were just talking about, because they're all studying virtually now, right? And we did see initially with Nathan, because like I said, he literally flipped 360 like your husband. Okay. So when you flip like that, especially with the younger kids, they don't understand that. And all of a sudden, Nathan's not hanging out with anybody. And we were a little concerned. He always had a lot of friends over, and now he wasn't having any friends over. He wasn't doing anything with anybody because I'm sure in their world, he was kind of like weird, right? Who's this kid that we've all been hanging out with? We've been doing drugs. We do this. We go for burgers. We have fun. And now he's like literally flipped 360. But now I see him, not only is his friends back, I see him talking on school about stuff. He's sharing his meals as he's cooking them during class. And now I'm also noticing that some of his friends are following suit with him. And it's kind of cool to watch.
That's super great. And it can be worrisome for a parent when you see your child changing because what used to make them happy or what you thought would make them healthy, and then they change the food that they're eating, or they change their personality, or they change the friends that they're hanging out with. And we as parents sometimes can't help but worry, but sometimes we need to trust, and sometimes we need to learn. And you're right, we didn't influence our parents quite the same way, but we also didn't have access to the same information. Everybody who's been vegan or plant-based from 20, 30 years ago happened to stumble upon a book, right? Happened to stumble upon a book, but they didn't search the internet to find that book, right? Because we didn't have the internet back then. So it's just so wonderful how even if everybody in the family doesn't go completely plant-based, they will find little pieces and gems for themselves that will help to propel them forward towards better health. So yeah, it's wonderful that's happening. And we're going to check in with you in a couple of months, and we're going to see where your journey's at. Your journey's your journey, and we're never here to judge. And, that's one of the number one things when people write into the podcast, they're like, you just meet people where they are with no judgment. So it's not about judgment, but if you want to go down a path, we will help support you, and we can be hard on you if you need to be hard on because you want to get there. But it's wonderful to see how people do make small changes, and all of those small changes impact your health. They impact the environment. They impact the world globally in so many different ways.
What I'll add to that is Nathan went through a social struggle. And that is very, very common for people that transition to a plant-based lifestyle. I went through it. I lost tons of friends at first. And like you said, it changes. Your social circle changes. Friends come back. But there definitely is an adjustment period for many people. And it can be very difficult. But now there's so much support available. And because there's so many people online or access available to so many great mentors and people to just watch it's really changed the way people transition and feel about making that transition. So yes, socially, it's always a challenge. There always is one there, but you will get through it if that's something that you're struggling with.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'll share this, and I do have a question for you, actually. For us, or for me, what really kind of got my attention was because initially there was it was fighting, if that makes sense. Like I said, you know what I mean, for whatever reasons. But then every now and then Nathan would say, I love you and I care about you. And that's why I'm speaking up so strongly about this, because he truly believes that if we don't make that change, that it's going to cost us our life. And when your son says that to you, even if you're not open to it at first, when you have time to pause, ponder, and pray on that, it affects you, you know? So I'm grateful that he cares enough at 17 to try to fight for his family, you know, because he truly believes that if we don't make the switch, that we won't be around as long as we were supposed to be, and that other things will happen to us. The question I had for you, I don't know if it's a quick answer. So, you know, I had cancer surgery 2 years ago. I work out like a madman, like if anybody follows me. I feel I'm pretty, you know, I'm not perfect, but I feel I'm probably like, for the most part, probably 95% pretty strict with my eating in my world. But I can never I always have this like pouch in my belly. I can't get this last section, no matter what I do. It doesn't go away. Is that, in your opinion, is that something that plant-based, going 100% plant-based would make, like, because Nathan's trying to tell me that. He's saying that the reason that's there is because there's all kind of toxins and stuff like there that's stuck in there.
It's very possible. It's hard to say because we don't know the background of your nutrition or what you're actually putting into your body. But a lot of it has to do with the food that you're fueling yourself with, combined with the fitness that you're taking on, which obviously is quite a bit. But the body's built in the kitchen, and that's where it all starts. So if you're putting in good, high quality food that's designed to peak your performance, you're going to see a much better outcome. So it's very possible that will help you shed that little pouch that you called it, but it could be part of genetics. Like there's so many different factors for so many different people, so it's hard to pinpoint exact.
And one of the things that I see the most with my clients is stress. So yes, your body's definitely made in the kitchen. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, if I work out, it'll go away. You can't outrun a bad diet, right? Not to say that your diet's bad, but stress is huge. And sometimes that stress is old medications or old things sitting in the body from years and years and years. So whether it's drugs or alcohol or chemotherapy or the medication that they give you in surgery, sometimes that stress is the way you're living your life now. And although you're doing a lot of good things, it's still putting stress on your body. Sometimes that stress is coming from inflammation because of the animal products that is causing inflammation in the body. That's causing your IGF-1 hormone, which is your cell growth hormone. It doesn't know the difference between good cells and bad cells. Sometimes it's not enough sleep. There's so many different things that create stress in the body. And I have a lot of clients where I work with them in different capacity other than nutrition, and they start to follow my protocols and they haven't changed their nutrition one bit. But within 3, 4, 5 months, all of a sudden, boom, something happens and 15 pounds falls off of them. And it's not muscle, right? It's not muscle. We see it in the face. We see it in the neck. So sometimes it's the stress as well. And we need to recognize that even endurance sports like Adam's Ironman and his training and all of that, that's still stress on the body too. So we need to bring down those inflammation levels. And as we get older, that gets more difficult because the communication in the body is just not there at the same level. So there's lots of things that can contribute to it. And that's why, even though, you know, with the hundreds of clients that we've had, nobody's really had the same exact protocol because everybody's coming from a different place as well.
Perfect. So did you say you're an Ironman?
Yes.
Yeah, Adam's a 2-time Ironman.
2 times, yes.
I'm a two-time Hawaii Ironman finisher.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that.
Thank you. Yeah. Which ones did you do, brother?
Texas and Louisville.
Louisville. Awesome, man. That's awesome. What was? No, we don't ask that. Ironmen don't ask times. They just said, "Do you finish?"
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we finished.
I remember that. Yeah.
I almost didn't finish.
Yay.
Just the watching part.
Oh, you did it too?
No, I was a spectator. I almost didn't make it to the end spectating, but somehow he made it to the end.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Conversation for another time. Réal, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your family with us and your story. We really appreciate it because it's certainly going to have an impact on someone in our audience today, and hopefully be able to help them and answer some questions and show them that there are other people out there that are in similar situations. If anybody that is in our audience wants to reach out to you and learn a little bit more about you or connect, where would you like them to go?
Thank you for that. The best is what I call my mothership, my website, www.realandrews.com. You know, I have a button in the top right there. You know, you want to have a virtual coffee date. I'm always open to just sit and chat. I love to get to know people, and, you know, I can help people with coaching and my different expertises, but also all my social media is at Réal Andrews, my name, and in any one of my platforms, you can always just click the bio, and my main links are there, my podcast, my YouTube channel, my TikTok, and that's just the best way to find me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. So we'll link to all that at our website at planttrainers.com in the show notes. And Réal, we appreciate you being here today on the Plant Trainers podcast. Thank you so much, and we look forward to following your journey.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is at Plant Trainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time, and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.